Hello, you and your ego. Can we get real for a minute? Because what are we talking about? I hear this all the time. People talk about their ego. My ego this, my ego that. My ego doesn't like this, my ego doesn't like that. My ego takes over. They talk about their ego like it's their dog or something. Like it can do something, like it could eat your homework. This is funny, but I'm serious. But it's funny. Also, what are we talking about when we're talking about ego? Because you know what? Are there two of you? You and your ego. I'd love someone to explain this to me. Nobody has yet. Are you a victim to your ego? Whatever that is? It's doing something to you? You're a victim to what exactly? What's really going on here? Because if you keep mentally blaming a concept called ego, and that's what it is, right? Because it's not a thing you can point to like your dog. But if you keep mentally blaming a concept called your ego, you'll never know what's actually going on here. You'll never wake up to the truth of yourself. So what is ego? Is it a thing? Does it exist? What are people talking about? This is super important. Can we just get really real here and look at your ego? Go ahead and try right now. Just try and look right now at your ego. Tell me, what do you find? Anybody find it yet? What do you find? Have you found, if you've found something, it's probably a thought. Is that right? You've got a thought that has the word ego in it. And what do you mean? What are you talking about? Hola, Teresa. What people are referring to, usually, is some vague concept about a thought. It's our thoughts, right? Isn't this what ego is for most people? It's a thought they don't like, or a thought feeling. I call them thought feelings because they arise together. You feel thoughts. Is that an ego, or is that a thought feeling? Does a thought have any control over you? Even a feeling doesn't have any control over you. You just feel it, right? It's just a feeling. It's temporary. It wasn't here before. It's come. It'll pass. Thanks for saying hello if you're watching. My name's Cindy Stevens. I'm the spiritual facilitator who keeps it real. And I'm talking about you and your ego, and I want to get real about this. Because once again, I hear it all the time. People just talk about their ego like it does something to them. But there isn't one, right? Hi, Pierrette. There isn't one. So there's nothing doing anything to you, right? Can we get brutally honest and just admit that for a moment so that we could find out what's really going on here? So in the conventional world, out there in the social world, ego usually means someone who thinks big of themselves. But I tell you, ego, in that sense, in the truer sense, also includes someone who thinks poorly of themselves. Maybe they've chosen that because they don't want to appear like they think big of themselves, so they don't want to appear like they have a big ego. So I'm going to have a little humble ego. Or I'm going to even have a poor ego. This is a personality, not an ego, right? You don't have an ego. What is that? It's like you have a dog, you know. So there's so many different types of egos that you can have. Their personalities and whatever that is also. Let's get real about that, right? What is this all about? These are things, ideas about yourself that you have decided are true for you. Okay? Your ideas of yourself become your self-image that psychology is all about. They want to have a better psychological ego. But in the spiritual sense, we're not talking about that. That's not the ego we're talking about. If you are talking about your ego and you're a spiritual seeker, then you're just dreaming because there is no ego. So you're telling an imaginary story about something that doesn't exist. And that's what most people are doing, whether you're a spiritual seeker or not. I think the difference between someone who's a spiritual seeker and someone who isn't is primarily that they've realized something. They've realized something about the mind, that maybe it's not them and maybe it's not other people all the time. Of course, it's never yourself and it's never other people, ever. But if you believe it is, because you're dreaming the mind, your problem isn't ego, your problem is dreaming. Living in the head, living in the mind. And that's you doing it. That's not your ego doing it. So I'm going to talk here for the next, 10 or so minutes on ego. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat box. Now's your chance. Because I think until we really get real about ego, we're going to keep dreaming about ego. And this does us no good whatsoever. We don't need to fix our ego, change our ego, tame our ego. I'm sure there's some people who think they have to love their ego. You might have heard the concept of killing your ego. And then there are people who will say, no, you can't do that. Everybody has to have an ego. And people will argue about this, not knowing what each other are talking about. What are we talking about when we say ego? Is there such thing as spiritual ego death? Yes, there is. Can you live without your spiritual ego? Yes, very well, you can. So what am I talking about, right? So the spiritual meaning of the word ego is a mistake. Ego is actually a Latin word for I. If you were to speak in Latin, instead of saying I, you would say ego. That's originally, literally, what ego means. It means I. And so if you follow any Eastern teachings, they're talking about yourself, and there being a true self and a false self. It's not that there are two selves. There are not. But when you've made the mistake in your identity, then you appear to be something else to yourself that you're not. And that is a weird thing. I know that's a weird thing. I'll admit to it. It is a weird thing. But it's what we're capable of doing because we have these massive thinking machines that we don't understand. We haven't studied. We've studied the stars. We can go to the moon. But we can't stop suffering. Well, we can. But as a society, mental health experts are failing us miserably in terms of understanding what's going on inside your own mind. and just what goes on as your mind itself, as a function. We know more about our liver and about our kidneys than we do about the mind, medically speaking, scientifically speaking. But you, even though you're not a doctor, I presume, you might be, and even if you are a doctor, you, whether you're a doctor or not, can discover everything you need to know about your mind. And it'll have nothing to do with ego. Everything you need in order to be happy, peaceful, to exist harmoniously with others around you and the world around you. You don't need a microscope. You don't need a telescope. You don't need any biopsies. But you do need to pay attention. And I don't mean to stuff in your mind stories, past, future, your name, your star sign. I don't mean any of these things, this mental knowledge that you have heard and accumulated. None of the content inside of the mind matters. What you need to pay attention to is the mind itself. And for that, you have to step outside of it. I don't mean literally, but I do mean with your power of attention. Because with our power of attention, we have the ability to appear like we step inside our minds. And we don't even know it. That's called unconsciousness. It's like you slip into the clothes in your mind, the role in your mind, the actor, the character. You get into role in your mind. And you change roles. You go into a role for your mother. You go into a different role for your father, your lover, your dog, your cat. And then you're acting in that role. And that's still not ego. You're just dreaming and acting the mind for a while you're running that movie in your mind. But you can step out of those roles at any time. You can step out of your mind at any time by withdrawing your attention from the mind and putting it to everything else that is not the mind. And then your identity as a person, for the time being, comes to a halt. Because there's no movie playing, there's no character operating, functioning. So this acting and this dreaming is a verb that you're doing. It's not a who you are. And there's not a entity that has possessed you inside of you. There's not an ego entity inside of you that is making you do that. But you have to have these insights. You can hear me say these words, but if you don't know what that woman is talking about, you're probably up here in your head. You have to open attention and let it drop out, away from the mind. Let it fall silent. And then you can recognize, the whole world outside of the mind. Oh yeah, it was here all along. And so were you. Funny that. So when you drop the mind, you dropped all the content in the mind. You drop all the stories, all the problems. It's miraculous. Until you pick it up again and you go again with it. So it's not always operating either. So there's clues here, insights that you can have. We have a visitor who said, every mind is free to choose, but no choice is free of attention. It's very convoluted to me. Every mind, so your mind doesn't choose. Your mind is a machine. It's a matching machine. And it's very good at what it does. If I asked you to think of an orange, the next thing you know, you're going to be thinking of cutting it or smelling it or tasting it. And I didn't even have to say any of those things. Your mind will start doing it. Check it out. Just think of an orange. That's the only instruction. Watch what'll happen. Because you see, the mind is not a thing. It has no existence, no reality. It's a experience. It's a process. It's like an energy streaming, and as soon as you cut the energy, it stops. So when you're giving the mind energy, it's got to go, or it just dies. And so you give the mind energy, you give it your attention, you pay attention to the mind, and away it goes until you quit paying attention, and then it stops. So mind doesn't choose. It's a matching machine, and it's not even intelligent. I'll mention orange to you, and you'll flash back to your favorite jacket, and from there you'll flash out to the trip you went on when you fell in the water, and from there you'll flash to the hospital trip, blah, 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 blah. This is just how the mind operates. And it can go off in any direction. It doesn't have to have anything to do with reality whatsoever. That's the nature of the mind. And yet, we believe in the mind. We dream the mind. We think it's reality. We think it's important. We pay more attention to the mind than to reality, usually. This is what we call usual mind, meaning this is how people usually are. Most people. They haven't discerned the mind from the world. They haven't discerned the world from the mind. They haven't discerned themselves from the mind, others from the mind. And so they were completely out of control because they have the gas pedal on the mind, and it's going. But they don't know they have the gas pedal on the mind. They don't know what the brakes are. And the mind has very rudimentary yet sophisticated steering of its own that you don't have control over. If you had control over the mind, you would know what thought is going to come up before it comes up. And you don't know that, do you? Now, as far as being free of attention, there's no such thing particularly. Your attention has various functions, and it has its certain way of working, and primarily it's open or closed. And so you can narrow or contract your attention on a body part like your left foot, which you might be feeling now that I've mentioned it, but maybe you weren't before I mentioned it. So your attention can go from body part to body part. I just have to ask you, are you feeling your left shoulder right now? Oh yeah, you have a shoulder. There's tons to be learned about the mind, attention. Attention is one of your 5 powers you possess. Most people don't know they have. They don't know that they're driving it unconsciously. And so when you start to learn about your powers and learn about the body, mind, and how it functions, you can actually make mind your friend so that you're not working against it and it doesn't appear to be working against you. It's working perfectly, perfectly well. You just don't know how it's working. That would be like you getting into an airplane and starting to press buttons and things. I presume you're not a pilot, right? Pressing buttons and things and saying, I don't know, this thing, it's not going where I want it to go and it's going to crash. And this stupid airplane. No, the airplane's not stupid. The gears aren't stupid. The controls aren't stupid. They're working exactly as they probably should be. You don't know what you're doing. Hey, Lauren. Hey, May. Yeah. Very good. So we have to find out what we're doing, what we're doing wrong, to know how to run this machinery in the way we want it, in the way we want to experience it, in the results we want to get. Anthony said the mind treats past memories as if they are presently happening. No. So the mind is presently happening. Whatever is coming is presently here now, as mind, not as past. It doesn't exist as past or future. It's the mind here now, arising here now. See, if you're not aware of that, you have ideas like this. You don't understand what's really actually going on. And then we make up stories to try and understand, and then we make up strategies to try to go along with that. And it just doesn't work. Yes, you can always return to blissful memories. Yes, you can. But you have no control over where the mind's going to go. You don't know what thought's going to come up before it comes up. Your foot's on the gas pedal. You start thinking about something nice, and the next thing, the mind is matched. Oh yeah, that guy, he shouldn't have been at my wedding. How dare he? And you're unconsciously gone again. So the mind is an amazing tool. It's not evil. It's not a problem. It's not your enemy. It is an amazing tool, but we don't understand it. We have this amazing tool that we are completely ignorant about. Why is that? Well, our parents didn't know, and they taught us what they thought they knew, and we passed that on to our children. It's been happening generation after generation. Ignorance, false ideas, false information that we never questioned. We never doubted. A thought comes up in your mind and you just go with it because it came up and it comes out your mouth. Without questioning, without doubting, without getting real, without checking it. We do the reality check in our community. A lot. Everything's always being reality checked to make sure we're not just telling stories of the mind. All right. If there's no more questions or comments, I'll wrap it up here. Thank you for being here. Teresa, Pierrette, May, Anthony, Lauren. Comments, questions? Anthony said, mind is like an unruly child that becomes disciplined through meditation. Yeah, not exactly. It's your attention that you are taking conscious control of in meditation. Mind does not need discipline. Mind is not the enemy. Mind is perfect. It's operating as perfect. It's doing what it should do. This is how it functions. We just need to understand it. Quit abusing it, because that's what we've been doing. So with meditation, you can have a lot of insights. You can learn what you're doing if you're paying attention and not thinking, and that was the point of meditation. But sometimes it takes a while for us to have insights. Insights sort of come out of the blue to you. They go against what you thought. If you thought that you're disciplining the mind when you're in meditation, and then all of a sudden you wake up from that dream and nothing's happening and the mind doesn't need disciplining and everything's perfectly fine. It's like, what happened? What was that? You learn something about the mind that goes against what you thought. And these are priceless learnings. As long as they're true insights and not just another story. Because we're like hamsters on the wheel. Now I've got it. Now I got it. I got the answer. This is what I needed to do all the time. And this is all more thinking, and you don't know it, but it's a good thought feeling, so it feels good for a while. So you think you've got it because it feels good. And then the next thing you're dreaming a different dream, and it's gone. And you go, what happened? I thought I understood something. I thought I had it. See, a true insight you will never lose. You will never forget. It can't leave you. It will always be true. It'll never change. And if you want off the hamster wheel, you've got to get real. You have to learn to discern the mind from yourself, mind from reality. Discern thinking from not thinking, so that you leave the mind alone. You quit harassing it. The more you harass the mind, the more unhappy it is. And then you start to work with the mind instead of against it. It is your friend. It's a tool. It's a wondrous tool. But we must understand it correctly. You're very welcome, May. So we can be very powerful at quieting the mind because we are, of course, driving the mind, making it noisy. We're either driving it or not. And I hope you take ownership of this today. Quit blaming it on the mind. This is what this whole talk today is about. Not blaming the ego, because I hear it all the time. My ego does this, my ego does that. Your ego does nothing. Your ego doesn't exist. The most the ego is a mistake in identity. And it needs to be corrected, but it's just a mistake. Does a mistake do anything to you? As I said earlier, the ego is not like a dog that ate your homework or something, It can't, there isn't a thing that does anything to you, and you're not a victim of it. And so this is about taking ownership, which steps you out of the mind, because in the mind is where the blame is. The claim and the blame are in the mind. You claim your successes and you're getting somewhere, and then you blame the mind or the ego or other people when you're not. And this is all content within the story in the mind. You take ownership for driving the mind. Then you can quit driving it. Because that's all you're left with when you can't blame anybody or anything else, right? Yes, May, the claim and the blame are both in the nugget. In the nugget. The claim and the blame are in the mind. Both are in the mind. It's a nugget. We say nugget because we have a ton of videos. We have thousands of hours of videos that people can search on our membership, and we can look up the word nugget to find them. Anthony, you're speaking on a level that I'm not speaking on. This comment, if I feel hungry and feed that hunger at the moment instead of fasting, I am thinking of the self. Which self? What do you mean by self? If you're hungry and you eat food, you're just eating food because the body is hungry. This is normal. By the same token of not abusing the mind, we don't abuse the body. The Buddha learned this. Okay? Back in the day, everybody thought the thing was to be extreme about the body. Eat way too much. Don't eat enough. Stand on one foot. Stand on your head. Do these extreme practices and torture the body. No. The more you torture the body, the more you torture the mind. The more you torture the mind, the more you torture the body, the more unconscious you are. So the Buddha was about the middle way. He quit torturing the body so that he could just pay attention. A simple thing, paying attention. Simple, but because for the most part in a day, 24/7, we're not paying attention to anything but the mind. I guess we are paying attention. We're paying attention to the mind, but almost exclusively the mind. And this is the problem. So you have 5 powers. I invite you to come and discover all of them with me. And drop me a message down there below. We are going to be doing live Zoom conversations, one-on-one, 7 to 10 days, every day. Haven't decided how many days yet. It's going to be starting soon, and it is in the Spiritual Coaching for 7 program. So if you want to join me and have these live conversations in person in a small group, feel free, message me down below, and we're going to get that kicked into gear, because we're going to be creating a step-by-step map to understand your 5 powers, the mind, how it works, how thought feelings work, what's really going on, to free yourself, because it's only you who've bound yourself up. So that's good news. Okay. Thanks, May. No more questions or comments seen, so I will wrap it up, because as you know, how it usually goes is if you keep typing, I keep talking. And it's a pretty chill group here today, right now. So I would just thank you for being here, unless I see a Q in the comments, which means you have a question coming, because I know it takes some time to form a question and to type it and for it to come across the internet. Yes, we are, Teresa. If I see a Q, I know there's a question coming, and I'll just wait. Otherwise, I will thank you for being here. And if you've just joined me, as I've seen some people have, please do watch the replay from the beginning. All right, no Q seen. Thank you for being here. You know what to do. Until we meet again, keep it real and enjoy yourself just because you can.